Leo, this is your tarot reading for the month of March. It's coming from the mountains of Java, but I've got a picture or a movie of the Bangkok amulet market because I'm using an amulet just to bring us luck in my divinations. Leo, the overall energy, the card in the middle there, is the Emperor card. Father-like figure. Maybe a bit conservative, but powerful, strong. Sort of person that people come to for advice, people come to for your support. As I say, maybe a bit conservative. It's interesting, because I'm a Leo. The recent past, we have the Death card. This was a sudden and abrupt ending to something. Something changed. I mean, it could be an actual death. You may know my mother died in October, so I don't know if it's that. It could be. It's more likely to be a major change in your life, though. Current energy is one of charity. I suspect this is you being charitable towards others, but you might be receiving charity. You might be receiving charity, I don't know yet. And the energy the future energy is the Knight of Pentacles. That's almost certainly about money. It's going slowly, but you're determined. It probably will happen. Because you're very determined, you're very reliable, but it's happening maybe a bit slower than you wanted it to. The energy impacting on the outcome is the Four of Swords. That's you taking a rest. Probably a well-earned rest, given all we've seen so far. Now, what would prevent the outcome is the Five of Wands. That's a conflict. But it tends to be a sort of conflict that's easily resolvable. It's about people maybe even wanting the same things, but not having communicated how to get there. And the outcome is the Two of Pentacles. That's maybe juggling, such as work-life balance issues. Doesn't mean to say you'll fail, but just you'll find things a little bit of a struggle to do everything. We need to look in more detail, don't we, Leo? As I say, the overall energy is that of the Emperor card, and this runs throughout the whole thing. It tells us really what this is about. Suggests you're strong, it suggests you're powerful, suggests you're in control of things. Which is very interesting given the other cards. Sometimes it could be a bit too controlling, but I'm not sure that's what it means. Sometimes a bit too conservative, but I'm not sure that that's true either. Yeah, an interesting card to have here. I mean, it's a nice card to have here. I mean, you look at him, he's dressed beautifully. He looks powerful and strong, doesn't he? So it's a good card to have in this position. In the recent past, we have the Death card. Now, other tarot readers always say it doesn't necessarily mean death, but it could do. And my mother died in November, so it could be referring to that, because it is the recent past. It could simply be a major change in your life. Well, I mean, that was a major change in my life. It was a sudden upheaval. As a result of what happened at a funeral and my problems in getting to England, etc., I'll probably never return to England. So I'm committed to staying in Indonesia now. And that probably is a major change in my life. You look at it, I mean, yeah, the angel of death is cutting through the people with a scythe, but there's always hope. There's that old Hindu man standing up to him and a Hindu temple in the background. So there's always hope, even though it's quite a bleak looking card. Your current energy is that of the Six of Pentacles. That's a card of charity. Now I suspect that's you being charitable towards others, but it could be you receiving charity. We really don't know at this stage. You look at it, I mean, she's giving money to the poor like Lady Bountiful. She has the scales in her hands, so she's doing it very fairly. So, yeah, I feel you are being charitable towards others, I really do. We'll look at it a bit more later, maybe. Future energy is that of the Knight of Pentacles. He's dependable, determined to get a job done in the face of adversity, which does fit in with this Emperor card. And you know, indeed the Death card, doesn't it? It's probably about money, and it probably means that money's coming in a little slower than you'd like. Or wealth, should we say. If you look, it's quite a parched landscape there. So, you know, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but you are determined. You're determined. You'll get things done. And that's what's important. You're reliable. Yeah. The energy impacting on the outcome is the Four of Swords. This is you needing to take a rest. Now, you know, as I say, my mother died in October. It was a very trying time for me, very trying. I had all sorts of problems. But, you know, I made it to see her before she died. I arranged the funeral. I'm still waiting on the money from the estate, and that could be the money that we're waiting on. But, you know, it's left me somewhat drained. We booked a holiday to relax in Bangkok, which is where the opening scene comes from. And, you know, it was the first family holiday we've had in 7 years. But, you know, I've got 2 young adult daughters, and, well, it tired me out going to Bangkok, quite honestly. I mean, yeah, the plane was 4 hours delayed. So instead of arriving at the hotel at about midnight, and I go to bed very early, particularly when I'm in the mountains. But, you know, instead of arriving at midnight, we arrived at around 4 o'clock. And, you know, then when and part of the problem is, you know, you're meant to check in 3 hours early, aren't you? So the entire journey from home to home took 13 hours for a 3-hour flight, you know. And then coming back, we had to get to the airport early. And again, you know, 3-hour early check-in, etc., etc. I was tired out. I got back a week ago, and I'm still exhausted, you know. Still exhausted. So you're needing to take a rest, and it seems like a well-earned rest, Lily. What would change the outcome is this Five of Wands, which is a card of conflict. I mean, it might feel like a very difficult conflict, but generally speaking, it's easily resolvable. It's one of those situations whereby if you took the time to explain your position and what you were trying to achieve and listen to others, you could probably come up with a way of resolving it very easily. But so often we don't, do we, when we're in situations like that? I'm not sure why this impacts negatively on the outcome, but it does. And the outcome is the Two of Pentacles, which is a card of a degree of struggle. Doesn't mean to say you're not going to get through it and you're not going to do well, but you're just finding a few things difficult. Is it because the money's slow coming in, slower than you anticipated? It could be. It could be. I don't see how conflict changes the outcome, though. It's a sort of a work-life balance issue, that you haven't got time to do all the things that you're trying to do, and you're struggling a little. And I think that goes for most of us, doesn't it? We always seem to be in that situation. As I say, you'll probably get through it. You'll probably do all right, but it's going to impact on you in March. Now, what's this conflict all about? Let's get some clarity, eh? And the first card I get is the Page of Cups. Is it about love, or could it be something creative? We've now got the Two of Swords, which is an important decision to make. And we finally have the Page of Swords. This is about some information. Are you seeking some information? So it could be about love, it could be about important decisions, and they're difficult to make because you don't have the decision. And that is creating conflict. Let's look at each individually. So the first card confirming this conflict is the Page of Cups. Could be about creative opportunities, even creative messages. That's creating the conflict. Gosh, I wonder if you're a bit like me. I'm always getting into conflicts because I can, well, quite honestly, I'm an empath. I can read what's going on. I can read between the lines. I can understand people's body language. And I can react to that, to things that they've not even said. And it's always getting me into trouble because they're going, oh, I didn't say that. And they're going, no, I know you didn't. You know, in my heart, I know what you meant. I wonder if that's it. You're jumping the gun. Yeah, you know when you're being manipulated, and if you're like me, you're not particularly good at handling it. And now we have the Two of Swords, which is important decisions to make. Now remember we had that Two of Pentacles, which was you struggling with issues. This is more a decisions thing, but you don't feel you have the information to make the decision. Do you know, I wonder if you're struggling between your brain and your heart and you need to follow your heart. You remember that Page of Cups, and I said, I react to things that people haven't said because I can read, I wouldn't say read their mind, but I can read their body language, I can read what's going on. And, you know, everyone in the room is shocked at my reaction. But I do know what's going on. I know when there's manipulation going on. And I think that's what you're doing. You're spotting something. But you know you've got to sort of keep your mouth shut about it, not lose your temper. Even though you know you're right. I really feel that's what it is. Yeah. Now we have the Page of Swords, new ideas. We've had the Page of Cups. New ideas, new ways of seeing things, a thirst for knowledge. Yeah, and remember this is causing conflict. You know there's something wrong, something deeply wrong in the world. You don't quite know what to do about it. And, you know, you're shouting your mouth off. Like now, you know, reading tarot and saying, look, there's something wrong in the world. And, you know, it's bound to annoy people saying it. But deep down, I know there is. And it's causing conflict because you don't have the real information at your fingertips. All you can do is talk about what's happened to you. So, a couple of days ago, my Royal Bank of Scotland account was closed, having been with them 40 years. And they'd given me a hell of a time before that. I mean, they were clearly trying to get rid of me, even though there's loads of money there. But I can't help but feel that it might be a good thing. I've just got this feeling that there's something going on with the banks in the West, particularly for people who live overseas like myself, or maybe not particularly for people who live overseas. You know, it could be to do with the introduction of central bank digital money. I don't know. There's something going on, and what happened to me, the Royal Bank of Scotland, I feel was a part of it. But, you know, unless you can explain yourself logically, because they want logic, and it's coming from my heart, so how can it be logical? You'll get shot down, won't you? Yeah. Leo, an interesting reading for March. Very interesting. In a recent past, something happened somewhat abruptly. Sudden change. It's changed your life very much so. And you must be feeling for it. Indeed, you're going to take a rest because you need a rest, because it's been very emotional, very draining. Right now, I think you're being charitable towards others. I think you're seeing the best in everyone. But the truth is that you're anticipating money, and you will get it, and you're determined to get it, but it's coming in painfully slowly, nothing like as quickly as you'd want it. And you know, there's conflict. There's conflict out there, and the conflict is because you know there is something fishy going on in the world. And maybe the fact that your money's coming in slowly is a part of that, what's going on in the world. Now, you know it in your heart, but you can't quite say what it is. And you really need to take a decision for you and your family and for everyone around you. But you don't have the information on what's really going on in the world, you know. I mean, we could all point to a bald-headed German who ought to have a white cat on his lap. But, you know, I don't think that's... I'm not saying there's not something in it, I'm just saying that's not the full picture. And even if it were the full picture, we don't know the true machinations of what's really happening. I think there's so many smoke screens in the world. But I think you're going to be affected by them in March. Maybe not that badly. I think it's resolvable because it does see you trying to balance things, you know, trying to balance maybe money, maybe trying to do everything, maybe families, but you're trying to balance things. But the great thing is, you know, you are this powerful, strong individual. You do know there's things going on. You just can't quite define what they are. And if you shout too loud, it'll get you into trouble. So you know you've got to bite your tongue a little bit. Just like I am now.